So the community we're in today is Pacific Highlands Ranch, built in the mid 2000s on up. So fairly new community right here in San Diego. Right now we're at the Village, which is like the central hub. This is where you're gonna find a bunch of shopping, Trader Joe's right over here. We'll get into all that in a second. But if you're gonna be moving here, there's three things you gotta know. Kind of what are the houses like, what are the amenities, and then also what's nearby, kind of where is it located within San Diego. We're gonna get into all that, let you know everything you need to know about living right here in this area of San Diego. So let's get into it right now.
So Chris mentioned mid 2000s for this master plan community. You still got construction back here too, so there are some like brand new spots. This is Lumen, which is a community of townhomes, 3-story. Some are kind of like 4-story because the garage is on the first level. So if you're looking for townhomes kind of in this area, this is a great option. They're starting in that kind of like 1.3 range and on up. And they're kind of right in that 1,600 square foot up to a little over 2,000 square feet. So they're a really good option if you are looking for a townhome over here.
And so we are in a construction zone. You're gonna hear it going around. There's a sawzall going, there's some, what's going on here? A compressor going over here. But this is what you're gonna find in these new construction communities where you have basically 3 stories. These have garages on the ground floor here, but for the most part, all new construction here, not all, but a lot of it here in San Diego to get more units in and all that kind of stuff. You're gonna find those 3-story townhome style where you walk in and maybe it's like an office in your garage level. You go up, then you have like the living area, and then you go up further and that's where your bedrooms and stuff are. So you'll see a lot of that if you're looking new construction here in San Diego.
So here in the Village, you have a ton of restaurants, a ton of amenities. Just to name off a couple, you got Pacific Social right here. You've got El Pueblo, which is a smaller like local chain Mexican restaurant over here. You have Amalfi, which is started in San Marcos, which is a really cool spot.
Really good pizza in there too. Yeah, they make some good pie.
And then you have some of the chain spots here. You got Luna Grill, you've got Starbucks, you have Jersey Mike's, just some of those chain spots in the center too.
Yeah, and we've already mentioned here, spin me around, Cassidy, so they can see behind us. As you come into the center, it's actually pretty good size, and this is gonna be like your central hub where you do have the main shopping center over on that side, the Trader Joe's that we mentioned earlier. There's some, right behind us too, we're gonna go to the community park here. Right within this community too, there's a bunch of schools right within here too. So we'll cover that a little bit too, kind of show you where they are. Maybe I'll jump into the map later. Yep. So it's a mix of commercial places, local places, just a few areas to explore. There's not a ton of other infrastructure within this area, but this is a good hub to have right here.
And those townhomes too we mentioned are also right there. So this is all very walkable too.
And so it's not just a bunch of restaurants and grocery stores and stuff. In here, you're gonna find some medical offices as well, dentist offices, pediatrics. You're gonna find a few like gyms and stuff. So there's Crunch Fitness over there. There's a bar place right across where we're walking right now. There's the artist lab where if you got little guys, well, you could go too. I mean, and they have classes for everybody in there. So events, classes, all that kind of fun stuff right there.
And then you also just have those kind of daily amenities that you might need. There's a nail salon, there's UPS store. And just a reminder, if you are thinking about moving to San Diego, we are real estate agents here in San Diego. So definitely get in touch with us. It's never too early to get the conversation started. Also, call, text, email, and we can hop on a Zoom call and answer any questions you might have and kind of get you set up and then get a plan put together to move to San Diego.
Now we're at the community park and it's a pretty awesome park. There's huge grass area right here. There are basketball courts, playgrounds, there's a pump track for bikes or skateboards. There's a tiny little skate park. But anyways, there's a lot going on. The gym in here as well. There's some bad things about this. There's no parking here, which, this isn't the park we normally come to when we're, San Marcos and Encinitas. But we just found out there's not much parking here. And that's kind of a thing with a lot of newer communities. As they build out, as they get a little more dense, you'll notice like parking will get a little more difficult just because they're building houses closer and closer and pushing, anybody who's parking in there maybe off-site if you have an extra car or something. So anyways, you will see that a little bit in here, but what can we say good about the park?
There's a random baseball field, which is great for me. Just to add to Chris's comment about the parking, It's also a lot of condos in here. It's not a lot of single family houses around the village area. So it's going to be a little more dense. There's going to be parking issues anyway. Just at this park specifically, there's just no parking lot. It's just street parking and everything.
And so I'll show you on the map as well where we are, but just a little context where this park sits. We're looking almost at the 56 freeway right behind us. So more or less, Pacific Highlands Ranch is all north of the 56 freeway. You do have a little bit to the south, but for the bulk of it is to the north. Kind of as you are starting in those homes that we showed you, that's like the starter price point, like the townhomes 1.3 to 1.5. As you start getting into detached homes, you're looking in the probably $2 million range or so. And that's, you get some square footage, but there's still tract homes. And then as you go a little bit further north, we're gonna show you one neighborhood as well, where it's like even more expensive homes, even newer.
As we're walking around the park, we're exploring a little. We found a big old dog park right here. It's pretty empty, which is not common for dog parks in San Diego, so maybe a little bit more unknown. Just kind of outside the village, so in one of the neighborhoods here in Pacific Highlands, and it's pretty walkable depending on where you are within some of these communities here. You can still walk to the village. As you get a little bit deeper and a little bit further to the north, it's going to be a little bit less, but we're in one of the parks here. There's a ton of different types of housing out here. So you got right past the elementary school, which is off to our left here. You've got townhomes. From there you've got detached houses, but they're kind of like detached condos. They're
pretty tight.
They're pretty tight,
pretty
yeah.
Tight in there.
Just no yards. They have an alley for garages and stuff. So just a little bit tighter. And then you cross the street here and you've got bigger homes, bigger lots, backyards, kind of that traditional driveway / garage. And then some of these also will feed into a community center. There's a couple of different ones kind of scattered within this community.
And while a lot of these neighborhoods, especially the first townhomes, the brand new ones that are being built, plus the ones we were just driving through with alleys in the back, you know, it's tight. There's little patios, there's not a ton of outdoor space. As you get some of the bigger models, yeah, you get a little bit more outdoor space. But the good thing about this area is as you get to the outskirts and kind of cutting through certain different areas, you're gonna find some outdoor trails. So while you are living right here, you're gonna be walking distance to a lot of these places. Down to the south, it's not walking distance probably, but you can drive down there, is the giant preserve with a bunch of trails going through there. So it goes like almost all the way from the 15 to the 5. So a big stretch right there. And even in the park or the neighborhood we're at right now, we're at one of the parks up here, but down to the east connects to some trails. As you go to the west, it connects to a few more trails. So as they built this, yes, the housing's tight, the neighborhoods are tight, but there's also a bunch of trails, ways to get outside, a few parks. Cassidy mentioned some of the community centers, so even though you don't have maybe those amenities on your property, you'll be within striking distance of a few of those.
Some of the pros and cons of living here, it's new. I mean, a lot of the infrastructure is new, which is awesome. So you got newer schools, you've got a ton of funding for schools because of this big development. But some of the drawbacks are it's new. So it's a little bit tighter, like we've talked about. Yards aren't as big. And some of the kind of just the foliage, if you will, some of the plants and trees and all that just haven't had a ton of time to grow. And you'll even see that more obvious in the next neighborhood we're gonna go check out now.
Yeah, when you cruise through any neighborhoods in San Diego that have been well established, that have been here for 50 plus years, when they were built in the 60s and 70s, those are not built out, those are grown out. So all the trees are nice and big, everything is like lush. I mean, it's pretty lush here too, but you'll see as over time, like the next 20 years, all this will fill in and it's just gonna even look better and better, especially like Cassidy said, the newer neighborhood that kind of looks a little barren right now, honestly.
Yeah, stark.
Yeah, so we'll go check out that one right now. All right, so we made our way to the northern section of Pacific Highlands Ranch. A bunch more houses up here. You'll see in the drone shots, it's a lot of times when we talk about Carmel Valley, which this is kind of the eastern portion of, we just say it's like a sea of houses because it's all relatively built newer. There's just a lot of houses in here. this is no different here. Right now behind us is a gated community. We're looking at a gated community. So as you get to the end, there are some gigantic houses with huge views looking to the north up towards like Fairbanks, Rancho Santa Fe. Del Mar Country Club's right at the bottom of the hill here. And then you just have like, you know, beautiful pools and a ton of beautiful landscaping. When I was driving through here when they were building it, and it was just all basically dirt. You know, people were moving in with dirt. And then they obviously landscaped it, built it out, made it what they are today.
So in this northern portion of Pacific Highlands Ranch, there are a ton of homes up here, and that's, you know, like what Chris said, that's literally what this section is housing, and they're big homes. Like they're newer, large houses on a little bit bigger footprint than some of the other ones in here, but still quite close together. There's not, you're going places to kind of get that outdoor space, just because they are a little bit closer together. The architecture is definitely modern. Like we don't see a lot of this style of home. Obviously we see the kind of that California style, but here it's a little bit more straight lines, a little more just modern feel.
A lot of light, bright, a lot of white. I had to put my shades on going through the neighborhood because it's just like all the white houses. Oh my gosh, it's so bright going through there. But yeah, there's just a good selection, I would say. Now price points, when you get back here, closer you get to the freeway, kind of the townhomes like we mentioned, 1315. As you get a little bit further out, you're starting to get into the 1.8 to 2.2. As you get a little further out, 2.5. All the houses back here in the gated neighborhoods are, you know, 4 million on up.
Yep.
I think one just sold behind us, not this direct one, but in this neighborhood it was like 5.5, something like that. Obviously, huge footprint house.
Big views.
Big views, beautifully landscaped. Now we're in the map portion of Pacific Highlands Ranch, due north of downtown San Diego. You're not as far north as like Vista. You're right here in the center. This freeway right here is the 56 freeway. If you're coming from downtown San Diego, you're going to take the 5 up, cut across the 56, and then you'll be right there. Let me zoom us in, and you click on the map. It's going to basically give you the western portion of Pacific Highlands Ranch, but it also includes, here's kind of that 56 corridor. It's also going to include this little section down here. And as we zoom in a little bit more, also all this section here, this is the northern section. So it's just going to include a much bigger portion than actually is highlighted right here. All right, so here's a good overview of Pacific Highlands Ranch, 56 freeway, cutting across. It includes all of these homes, basically where we started, right in this central section. Then you have the park right down here. Here's those new townhomes. Here's neighborhood 1, which is basically south of this canyon here. And then neighborhood 2 was all this northern section here. You have a gated neighborhood here and here. So zooming in to the town center right here, where we started. We actually started filming right in this little section here. But this is going to be your central hub. Like we mentioned in the video, it's a little bit bigger. All this whole section right here is all apartments. So the actual shopping center and that kind of area is going to be all in here, kind of the, if you go down the center here, and then as you go down this road here. On the western portion, the Trader Joe's and Rite Aids are kind of the main stores in there. You have a bunch more of the stores in here. The Four Corners is where you had Pacific Social. You do have El Pueblo. You do have Amalfi over here. And then on this corner here, there is a Korean barbecue place as well. So anyways, this is going to be your central hub. But you can see from, if you're living in these new townhomes, Lumen right over here, you have easy access to all that, which is kind of cool. There's not many walkable neighborhoods right here in San Diego. So if you want something walkable to this little town center, it's going to be a good shot for you. As we mentioned, it's right near the community park over here. All of the schools, or 2 of the schools, are surrounding it right here. So you have the middle school, you have high school right here. And in the video, we mentioned there's no parking. So parking for the park was like right in here. It's not a ton of it. Parking over here. But we did read a few blogs and stuff. It says you like weekend stuff, you could potentially park in these parking lots. Don't quote me on that. I'm not exactly sure. But if you needed additional parking, because I'm assuming when we went, it was a weekday. So the pump track was super mellow. The playground was super mellow. There's throughout the week, there's also like classes going through the gym, badminton, basketball, all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty mellow as well. But they have a good list of activities that you could cruise in there. As we were walking by, there was some badminton going on there. So, and that was actually somewhat not packed, but there was a good crowd inside there as well. The 56 freeway, let me just get us north to south again, is going to cut through the center here. So there's a few other neighborhoods right nearby that could potentially work as well, because this is kind of part of Carmel Valley. So if you've heard of Carmel Valley, this is going to be like the eastern portion of Carmel Valley. So a lot of more homes in this section right here. This is all Carmel Valley. You do have the preserve right down the center here, and then Torrey Highlands right to the east as well. So all up and down the 56. It's not the same housing. It's different neighborhoods, obviously, but it's all similar, where you're going to find a lot of these master plan communities, a lot of tract homes, nothing too custom in here, but that's just kind of this whole vibe. The secondary neighborhood we went to, where we were filming, actually right in Solana Ranch Park, right next to the Solana Ranch Elementary School right here. And these are the homes right in here where they are going to be a little bit tighter as far as houses are tighter, obviously, but yards, they do have like these back alleys. So like a lot of the garages are back here, but that's kind of like the entry level of this area for detached single family homes. And then you're going to find some of the larger footprint single family homes on the opposite side as well. So this is when you're starting to get a little bit bigger home wise. You're starting to get a little bit more of that yard. Still, you can see it's pretty tight in here, but some of the, depending on where you are, you could have some decent sized yards. And then a few of the neighborhoods as well, they're going to feed to these community centers. So there's one right here. There's one on the north section as well, and another park right here. So here is where we were filming, actually right in this section over here. But this is one of the access to, when we mentioned the trails, this is one of the sections that has the trails that just cuts through this canyon here. And you can see it goes for a while. They cut, you don't even have to go up above. They do cut underneath these roads here as well. So you could just cruise for a while you're not like in the, you're not like on some crazy hike. It's beautiful to have these, dirt trails cruising through here. And then the next neighborhood we cruised to was, we started kind of by the gated neighborhood, which is due far north. You see all these super white houses right here. This is one of the gated neighborhoods. There's another one over here. But in this whole center section is a bunch of the kind of the next tier houses where you're getting bigger square footage. You're getting a little bit different style as we cruise in here. This is kind of that modern Spanish style. So cool homes. I mean, Cassidy was not liking them too much. He said they're a little, not necessarily his taste as far as architecture and stuff, because it is kind of similar. There's not too much, like you could see all the kind of basically the same paint colors going through there. So character is kind of lacking in here, but you do get these bigger homes. They're fairly new as well. And some of the bigger homes on this section are even newer as well, the gated community right here. But you can see when we said a sea of houses, as you're looking in here, there's just a lot of houses going through there. Now, if we're looking for what's around here, so let's just say you're living in Pacific Highlands Ranch and you want to go to downtown San Diego. Give you a quick little shot down there. It's about 25 minutes or so. So not too bad. As we say in a lot of videos, everything's 20 minutes away, but you can see it's about 25 minutes away in this case. So not too shabby. Just shoot it on the 56. Now, sometimes during the weeks, definitely at this merge here, where the 5 meets the 805, you're going to get some traffic, depending on which direction you're going and what time of day you're going. Definitely some traffic. But typically, as you're going north during rush hour and stuff, you will start hitting some traffic in this section here before you get to Del Mar. So it's not too bad, because you're going to be getting off here if you're coming from the south anyways. But over the past few years, they have added some carpool lanes and stuff to mitigate some of that. So the traffic keeps getting pushed north a little bit, where if you're living right here, you're not too bad. The 56 is somewhat of a main freeway. It's kind of funky. There's no direct, like when you're going north, you actually have to kind of get off the freeway and then get onto another on-ramp. So there's no like direct route right there. South's a little bit different. Now, if you're heading to the beach, anything like that, I just chose Del Mar because it's directly due west of here. But yeah, you're looking like 15 minutes. So not too bad. You could also shoot up to Solana Beach. You go down to the Torrey Pines Preserve down here and get some more hiking and stuff down in that section. And there's also some beaches down to the south here, Torrey Pines. There's a parking lot right here. So if you're coming, you could even hop off and then just go to Torrey Pines State Beach right there, or any of the Del Mar beaches, or go north. You got a lot of options right there. So you're definitely not coastal, but you're also not too far inland right here, sitting off the 56. As you start going further east, yes, you're going to start getting your Rancho Penasquitos, Poway's, Carmel Mountain Ranch. All those are going to add another 15 to 20 minutes going this way. San Diego is going to be relatively, maybe a little bit longer. You would just shoot down the 15. It's going to send you a different way. And you're centrally located right here in the middle of San Diego.
Just one thing to consider too, Miramar is just south of us here. Does seem like it's kind of a ways away, but you do hear some noise from jets and planes from flying in and out of Miramar.
And if you are thinking about moving to San Diego, and Pacific Highlands Ranch might be one of the spots, feel free to reach out. There's also a few other spots too that are right next door. We're going to cover Torrey Highlands, which is right up to 56, Carmel Valley, which, well, I mean, technically part of this, but there's a bunch more housing and stuff around this area that is going to fit the bill as well. So feel free to reach out to us, call, text, or email. We are the guys who answer all those, and we'll hop on a Zoom call, get you dialed in, answer all your questions, and just make sure you're ready to go so that when you do make the move out here, you are all set.